Hello and welcome. This is Varun, Technical Advisor, Design and Prototyping and Educational Consultant for tutormesh.com. In this session, we'll be discussing about working with mesh and solid primitives. The mesh primitives and the solid primitives are two different sections available in AutoCAD. It is predefined shapes which we can insert directly to the software. The mesh primitives include three-dimensional mesh object which we can directly insert to the software. Like we have a mesh box, we have a mesh cone, we have mesh cylinder, and so on. So it is already meshed as a surface and you can insert into the drawing. Similarly, we have solid primitives. This includes many predefined solids which we can include to our drawing, like box, cylinder, cone, sphere, and so on. Now let's see these primitives in the software. Now consider this as my space for the drawing. You can find the mesh primitives in the ribbon palette. Among the ribbon palette, you have a tab called mesh. When you click on mesh, you can find the primitive section. In this section, you have different primitives which is loaded like this. So you can select for mesh box, click on it to activate your mesh box like this. So before going to my drawing, let me come to my isometric from here like this. Now as the command is activated, I will show my first corner here, then I will show my other corner somewhere here like this. Correct. Now it is asking for the height, which we can give it manually like this. Now that our mesh is ready, when you revolve it, you can see that it's already a 3D object. When you come over to a visual style and change your 2D wireframe to the option shaded, you can see that it is made as a surface or a region. Similarly, you can use other primitives which is available here. Like going over this option, clicking on this drop down, you can find mesh cone. When you click on this, you can actually draw a cone which is useful like this. You can change your visual style from shaded to 2D wireframe to check your shape like this. Let me draw the next primitive, which is the mesh cylinder like this, showing the point, showing the radius and giving the height. My mesh cylinder is ready. Moving on, I have the mesh pyramid. When you select on mesh pyramid, you can show the center point like this, and you can show the corner like this and give the height like this. So now you can see that your mesh pyramid is also ready. The next primitive which we have here is mesh sphere. Mesh sphere will help you to create a sphere with a meshed surface. So I will go for the center point somewhere here and give the radius like this to get a sphere like this. Pretty beautiful, right? The next primitive which we have here is mesh wedge. When you select on this, you can show the bottom dimensions like this and give the height of the wedge like this. So you can see that a wedge is already ready, correct? And the last mesh primitives which we have here is mesh Taurus. When you select on this, you can actually draw a torus like this, which will be essential while you are designing. So like this, you can use mesh primitives to create many objects in your drawing. You can get the surface and edit the surface according to your need. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is solid primitives. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is the solid primitives. You can find the solid primitives in the ribbon palette on the solid tab like this, or else you can find the solid primitives in the home tab and you can get the solid primitives like this. The first one is box. I will click on the box and show my first corner here, second corner here, and the height somewhere here. So now you can see that it becomes a box like this. You don't have to worry, it's actually a 3D solid. You can come and change your visual style from 2D wireframe to shaded to look like this, right? Similarly, going back to my visual style, changing it to 2D wireframe and making my view to isometric view like this, let me continue with my solid primitives. The next solid primitive which we have here is cylinder. I will show my center point of the cylinder somewhere here, give the radius like this and give the height to get the solid cylinder like this, correct? The next primitive which we have here is cone. You can click on the cone, give the center point, give the radius and give the height to get the cone like this. The next solid primitive which we have here is sphere. We can show the center point somewhere here and give the radius like this to get the sphere like this. Going on to the next option, which is the pyramid, I can give the center point somewhere here and give the perpendicular distance to the nearest side like this and give the height to get the pyramid. Moving on to the next primitives, we can find the wedge. We can select on the wedge and show the base like this and give the height. so that the wedge is also ready. And the last primitive which we have here is Taurus. Clicking on the Taurus, I can give the center point here, give the radius and the tube radius like this to get the Taurus like this. So when I change my 2D wireframe to shade it, we can see that these set of objects are solid primitives and these set of objects are mesh primitives. So like this, you can use mesh primitives and the solid primitives in various ways in the software. So that's the end of this session, and we hope you understood well. Keep posting your queries and feedback, and for more videos, log on to www.tutomash.com. Thank you.